Today, we're diving into one of Africa's most talked about mysteries. Is Cameroon's 91-year-old President Paul Biya really missing? The man who's been in power for over 40 years has vanished from the public eye, and rumors are swirling. Could it be that one of Africa's oldest leaders is too frail to continue, or is there more to this story than meets the eye? Some say it's all a strategic move to keep him in power longer, while others claim that the French are behind the scenes, pulling the strings. Is it time for Cameroon to finally see new leadership? Or is this yet another trick to keep the old guard in place? Let's dig into this mystery and find out what's really going on. First, a bit of history for those unfamiliar with Cameroon's long-standing president. Paul Biya has been in power since 1982. That's right, over 40 years. Think about it. Most adults in Cameroon have never known another president. Imagine being born, growing up, getting an education, and starting a family, all under the same leadership. Biya's rule has become synonymous with the country itself, but what's shocking is how he has managed to stay in power for this long. He's done everything in the book to cling to his position, changing the constitution to eliminate term limits, punishing and sidelining opponents, and using his influence to suppress any voices calling for change. If you think about it, he's more than just a despot parading as a Democrat. He's a master of political survival. Before we continue, welcome to Pan-African Lens. If you're passionate about Africa's diverse cultures, rich history, development, and the contemporary issues shaping the continent and its diaspora, you've come to the right place. Be sure to subscribe and join the conversation as we explore these powerful stories together. Let's continue. Now, here's where things get interesting. Paul Biya has a habit of disappearing from the public eye, sometimes for weeks or even months. This wouldn't be so strange if he weren't the leader of a nation facing major challenges, from jihadist violence around Lake Chad to unrest in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon. In early September, Biya attended the China-Africa Summit in Beijing, which, at 91, is a remarkable feat. However, since then, he's missed some key international and regional events. For instance, he skipped the UN General Assembly in New York, and more recently, the La Francophonie Summit in France. By this point, he hasn't been seen in public for about a month. So where is Paul Biya? The government insists he's in Geneva, his favorite hideaway when he's not in Cameroon, resting under medical supervision. But with growing speculation, the government's silence has only fueled rumors. Some claim he's gravely ill, while others suggest he may not even be alive. The question is, who's running Cameroon in his absence? It's not just Biya's disappearance that's raising eyebrows. The Cameroonian government recently took a drastic step by banning all debates in the media about the president's condition. Can you imagine that? In a democracy, the government is telling journalists and citizens that discussing the health of their own leader is off limits. According to a statement from the Minister of Territorial Administration, these debates are considered a matter of national security. Authorities are even monitoring media outlets and social media for anyone who dares to question or speculate about Biya's whereabouts. This is censorship, plain and simple. Why would the government go to such lengths to prevent the public from talking about the president's health? It's as if they're hiding something, and it only deepens the mystery surrounding Biya's current state. Is this the kind of leadership Cameroon deserves? Let's not forget that Biya's rule hasn't just been about his own ambition. Many believe that France has had a major hand in keeping him in power for so long. In fact, France has a long history of meddling in the politics of its former colonies, and Cameroon is no exception. Think about it. Paul Biya has seen 8 French presidents come and go during his time in power. 8. And yet, he remains firmly in place. How does that happen unless there's some powerful foreign support behind the scenes? For decades, Biya has maintained close ties with France, which benefits greatly from Cameroon's resources. French companies have significant interests in Cameroon's oil, timber, and agriculture sectors. It's in France's interest to keep a compliant leader in power, one who ensures that French economic interests remain secure. But with Biya's age and health in question, Could we be witnessing a transition orchestrated not just by Cameroon's elites, but with France's blessing? And what does that mean for the people of Cameroon? Are they destined to see yet another leader who serves foreign interests over their own? Here's another twist. Paul Biya's son, Frank Biya, is rumored to be groomed as his successor. Yes, you heard that right. The president's own son could be the next leader of Cameroon. It's a classic dynastic move, and it's raising serious concerns. Frank, who is a businessman, has shown little interest in politics publicly. Yet support groups have emerged promoting him as the next leader. This feels like a calculated move to prepare the population for a smooth handover of power, keeping the Biya dynasty intact. But will the people of Cameroon accept this? Remember what happened in Gabon recently, when President Ali Bongo's attempt to extend his family's grip on power was thwarted by a military coup. Could something similar happen in Cameroon? Or will the people rise up and demand change? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Let's take a moment to put Biya's long rule into perspective. When he first came to power in 1982, he joined a group of African leaders who ruled for decades. But here's the thing. Most of those leaders are now long gone. Think about some of his contemporaries. Mobutu Sese Seko of Zaire, Gnassingbé Eyadema of Togo, and even Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe. They all clung to power for years but eventually fell. Paul Biya has outlasted them all. But is that something to be proud of? Or is it a sign of a nation stuck in time? Biya's tenure is a relic of an era where autocrats ruled Africa, often with the support of former colonial powers like France. As other nations move toward younger, more dynamic leadership, Cameroon remains tethered to the past. The irony is that Biya's survival tactics, manipulating elections, eliminating term limits, and silencing opposition, are the very things that have held Cameroon back. What the country needs now is not another member of the Biya family, but a leader who can tackle the challenges of the 21st century. But will that leader emerge? Let's not forget the geopolitical importance of Cameroon. As a gateway to landlocked Chad and the Central African Republic, CAR, Cameroon occupies a strategic location. It's a country rich in resources and has the potential to be an economic powerhouse in Central Africa. But instead of fulfilling that potential, it's mired in conflict and instability. The government's failure to effectively address jihadist violence around Lake Chad and the ongoing crisis in the English-speaking regions has left Cameroon in a precarious situation. The unrest in the Anglophone regions, which started as peaceful protests, has escalated into violent confrontations with separatist militants. Could this be linked to the absence of strong and effective leadership? If Paul Biya is unable to function as president, and his inner circle continues to suppress opposition, who will step in to guide Cameroon through these turbulent times? Is it time for the youth and the middle class in cities like Yaoundé and Douala to rise up and demand change? With Biya's 7-year term ending in 2025, the big question is, what comes next? Supporters are pushing for him to run again. Yes, at 91, they still want him to continue. But critics argue that it's long past time for a change. Cameroon's future depends on its ability to adapt and evolve with new leadership. Will Cameroon finally see a generational shift in leadership, or will Biya's inner circle succeed in maintaining control, possibly by installing his son Frank? Could this be another case like what we saw in Senegal, where the youth rejected the establishment's choice for leadership and demanded something new? Cameroon's young population, frustrated with economic stagnation and lack of opportunity, could be the force that drives real change. But there's also a chance that the status quo prevails, especially with France's involvement. Will Biya's departure be peaceful, or could we see unrest like what happened in Gabon or Burkina Faso? This is the critical question hanging over Cameroon today. Now it's your turn. What do you think is really happening with Paul Biya? Is he missing? Is he too frail to lead? And if so, who should take over? Should Cameroonians accept Frank Biya as their next leader, or is it time for new blood untainted by the old system? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Cameroon is at a crossroads. The next few months and years will determine whether it can overcome its colonial past and pave the way for a brighter, more democratic future. Or will the country continue to be held hostage by a regime that refuses to let go? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates on Africa's political and economic developments. We'll keep an eye on the situation in Cameroon and bring you the latest as it unfolds. Stay informed, stay engaged, and let's continue to support a united and free Africa. Thank you for watching Pan-African Lens. If you enjoyed this video and want to continue celebrating Africa's heritage and discussing its future, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps grow our community and keeps the conversation alive. See you in the next video.